whether due to the size or the nature of it. World War II was a unique, fascinating, and terrifying time to be alive. Many stories have been told over and over of great tragedies and triumphs, to the horrifying and very cruel and often brutal nature of war and hate itself. So much so that we almost miss the little stories that are both unusual and sometimes downright mind-boggling in the circumstances. For without these stories, no victory would have been met. So sit back and enjoy our new WFCR series, Strange and Forgotten Histories of World War II. Hello and welcome to Strange and Forgotten Histories of World War II. In this episode we're going to take a look at how fast fact can become fiction and vice versa in the world of espionage, when we take a look at the Phantom of Scapa Flow. So sit back, take a break, relax, and get ready for Strange and Forgotten Histories of World War II, Episode 4, The Phantom of Scapa Flow, here on Meditating Sounds, WFCR Radio Online. Under a brilliant display of northern lights that illuminated the region, a German U-boat commanded by Lieutenant Gunther Prien, a bold and dashing skipper, slipped through a maze of channels and currents, girdling the stronghold of the British home fleet, Scapa Flow, the vast anchorage in the Orkney Islands of northeast Scotland. Prien headed for his target, the old battleship Royal Oak. It was nearing midnight on October 13, 1939, 6 weeks since Great Britain went to war with the Third Reich. The British Admiralty was not too concerned about the safety of its warships. Scapa Flow was considered to be impenetrable to submarines. On the Royal Oak, most of the 1,146 members of the crew were sleeping peacefully, secure in the knowledge that German U-boats could not get to them. Suddenly the stillness over Scapa Flow was shattered by 3 tremendous explosions, one right after the other. Lieutenant Prien had fired 3 torpedoes, all of which crashed into the battleship. Mortally wounded, the Royal Oak capsized in only 13 minutes, taking to a watery grave 832 crewmen, and the ship's skipper, Rear Admiral HFC Blagrove. Meanwhile, the U-boat sneaked back out of Scapa Flow along the same route it had entered, undetected and unscathed. It was a stupendous maritime feat and a colossal propaganda victory for the Third Reich. Gunther Prien and his crew were received as heroes in Berlin, and the U-boat skipper was decorated with the Knight's Cross by Adolf Hitler himself. In London, the Admiralty, deeply embarrassed and humiliated by the Royal Oak's demise, while in its own anchorage, assumed that the U-boat had been guided to its target by a spy in the Orkneys. MI5, the British counterintelligence service, was promptly blamed by the Admiralty for failing to flush out this Nazi spy. MI5 agents descended en masse on the Orkneys to find the elusive spy, who had made this German exploit possible. The search failed. Spy mania gripped the people of the Orkneys. Clearly a highly dangerous Nazi was loose in their midst. 16 months later, in the spring of 1942, a popular American magazine, the Saturday Evening Post, published an article identifying the Scapa Flow spy as a former officer in the German Imperial Navy, Captain Alfred Bering. According to the Post account, Bering had been recruited in 1928 by German intelligence to be its man at Scapa Flow, which it was believed would be a crucial location in any coming war against the British. Bering adopted the fictitious name Albert Ortel, posed as a Swiss watchmaker, and opened a small shop in the village of Kirkwall in the Orkneys. 12 years later, Bering emerged from deep undercover and signaled to Captain Carl Dewitz of the U-boat command detailed intelligence about the Scapa Flow's defenses, its unpredictable currents, and its navigation obstacles. Authored by Kurt Weiss, an American journalist and espionage scholar, the Saturday Evening Post blockbuster article said that acting upon the A1 intelligence from Bering, Dönitz sent Lieutenant Prion, guided by Alfred Bering, Albert Ortel, into Scapa Flow to attack the Royal Oak. Bering boarded the U-47 at the mouth of the flow, acted as pilot navigator, then returned to the fatherland in triumph after 12 years of deep undercover in Scotland. Almost imperceptibly, the phantom of Scapa Flow entered the hallowed halls of espionage law. Even the top Nazis were impressed by Bering's spy feat. SS General Walter Schellenberg, chief of the SD, the intelligence branch of the SS, pointed to the Scapa Flow episode as a prime example of the importance of intelligence-planned cooperation between intelligence and military operations. After the war, Vernon G.W. Kell, the MI5 chief, wrote that Germans had been supplied with up-to-date information by a spy. In England, with peace coming nearly 6 years after the Royal Oak had been sunk, controversy continued to swirl around the event. The Admiralty clung to the strong contention that Bering, Ortel, had been the culprit. However, a number of British journalists probing into the affair descended on the Orkneys and failed to locate anyone who had ever known of, much less seen, Alfred Bering, who for 12 years was said to have been masquerading in Kirkwall as Albert Ortel, a Swiss watchmaker. Lieutenant Gunther Prion, the one man who could have provided precise information, died in mid-1941 when the U-boat was sunk in the Atlantic Ocean. Word of his demise was withheld from the German people for 6 months. So the question remains, had there really been a spy of the Nazis undercover in the Orkneys, long embedded in the very fabric and society of life at Scapa Flow? Did a German perform one of the history's most boldest espionage feats, or had it simply been the phantom of Scapa Flow, a myth, a legend, and only a story that had been brought to life and created, lauded by the Germans, feared by the British, and never really existing? We hope you enjoyed this episode of Strange and Forgotten Histories of World War II, here on Meditating Sounds, home of WFCR Radio Online. If you've enjoyed this programming, please subscribe to the channel and leave us a like on the video. Join us again next time for more lost stories from this pivotal and tragic period of history.